So this is the kitchen floor we're going to be working on. You can see in this video that the existing tiles are badly cracked in a lot of areas and the grout between the tiles has deteriorated. These particular tiles have been laid onto a concrete subfloor, which is normally a very good surface for tiling onto. However, it looks as though the people who laid these tiles just didn't do a very good job. Likely they didn't prime the concrete first before tiling, or perhaps they used a poor quality adhesive or mixed it badly. They certainly did not use an uncoupling membrane, which is important even on a concrete subfloor. I will tell you a bit more about priming and uncoupling membranes later in this video when we install our own. So the first thing on any job is clearing and protecting the area. You will see we've already laid Corex style floor protection down in the next room. They have got nice wooden flooring in there which we really don't want to damage. In the kitchen itself we need to remove the fridge freezer and the dishwasher. We also need to cover the room in plastic just to protect everything from dust and dirt. You'll be seeing us do that about now at 100 miles an hour. Before we get on with the floor tile removal, I'm just going to talk you through some of the products we'll be using today. This first one is an uncoupling membrane by Tilerite, which I will tell you quite a bit more about and show you how to install later in this video. The tiles themselves are pretty standard porcelain floor tiles that we bought from Selco Builders Warehouse. There's no link in the comments for these as they will not be available much longer in Selco anyway. Next we have EvoStick's flexible primer. Again, I'll talk about this much further into the video to show you how to use it and what it does. The grout we're using today is Dunlop's flexible grout. We're also using Dunlop's flexible fast set tile adhesive. We use the fast set tile adhesive on the floors, usually just so we can work faster, so we can walk on them sooner and get on to the next stage. A tile adhesive that isn't fast set would take a lot longer to dry, meaning the job just takes a bit longer. Generally we use fast set on floors and normal set on walls. In terms of strength of adhesion between the two different tile adhesive types, they're pretty much exactly the same. The type of adhesive used makes no difference to the quality of the job, just how quickly the job can be done. There are links for all of the products you see in this clip in the comments below. They would all be recommended by us for both the price and the standard of the job that they do. So David is now going to start removing the floor tiles themselves. You will see they do come up very easily, which is further evidence that the adhesive and tiles were not bonded very well to each other or the subfloor. If this job had been done properly in the first place, these tiles would be quite difficult to remove. He was able to take them up with just literally a hammer and a nail bar mostly. Usually we'd need a proper SDS drill to remove floor tiles, or at least a proper hammer and bolster. This next part of the video is just to show you what the floor looks like after the old tiles are removed. You will see that maybe just under half the subfloor still has the tile adhesive attached to it. Unfortunately for David, all of this old tile adhesive does have to be removed. This is so that we can lay our uncoupling membrane directly to the concrete subfloor rather than laying it on top of old deteriorated adhesive. To remove the old tile adhesive we use an SDS drill with a flat bit. This one is a Titan model that we bought at Screwfix. It was pretty cheap and I would certainly recommend it. It has lasted us for years and it's done a lot of work over that time. You can find a link to this product in the comments below. Other than that, as always, safety glasses are needed, plus he uses just a standard strong scraper, bolster and a hammer as well. The next stage after another good cleanup would be to prime the concrete. We use a primer by EvoStick, mostly because it's quite fast drying, it dries in less than an hour. Plus it's flexible and specifically designed for concrete that will be tiled onto. If you would like this product, you will find a link to this in the comments below also. Priming really is an essential part of the job. Concrete is actually quite porous by nature, so when we put tile adhesive directly onto the concrete without any primer, the moisture from the tile adhesive just from pure gravity soaks down into the concrete itself. This reduces the water content of the adhesive, which as it dries means the adhesive becomes soft and brittle rather than hard and strong like it should be. Soft brittle tile adhesive is exactly what we have seen under the old tiles on this job, and you've seen exactly what happens to them tiles on a video earlier. Not only that, concrete surfaces are quite dusty, especially when you've had old tile adhesive removed. This primer sets almost like a glue on the surface, which gives us a strong surface for the new tile adhesive to bond to, much better than dusty old concrete. It is worth mentioning as well, just for info, this video shows David doing just one coat of primer. However, we always do 2 coats and recommend you should do the same if you are tiling your own floor. This next stage is a stage that separates the bad tilers from the good tilers, the installation of an uncoupling or decoupling membrane. This is attached directly to the concrete subfloor just using standard fast set tile adhesive. The uncoupling membrane has 2 purposes. Firstly, it is a waterproof layer between moisture coming up through the concrete slab and the tile adhesive that attaches the tiles to the membrane, meaning this tile adhesive above the membrane remains dry and strong even if it is damp below. The second purpose is to add a layer between 2 tiles of tile adhesive. If the concrete slab itself moves slightly, which is not uncommon over a long period, the uncoupling membrane separates the tiles and the adhesive attached to the tiles from the slab itself. This means the movement in the slab will not deteriorate the bond between the tiles and the adhesive above the membrane. This massively improves the life and durability of any tiled floor. This uncoupling membrane is one made by TileRight. You can find a link to this product in the comments below. There are other uncoupling membranes available as well, some of which are actually thicker and a little sturdier. Given the option, I would recommend using a thicker, sturdier uncoupling membrane rather than the thinner one we have used here. I will put a link to a thicker, sturdier one in the comments below for you as well. We use this particular product on this job as we are restricted on how high the floor tiles can be laid, as they need to be level with the wooden floor that joins with it. Plus we are restricted on the height of the tiles as well. If we go too high with the tiles, then the dishwasher will not fit back underneath the worktop where it came from. So yes, a thicker, sturdier uncoupling membrane is always good. However, there is always a place for one like the one we are using that is a bit thinner as well. Either option would still be well worth installing. This next section is showing you how to use a couple of different tile cutters. Firstly, we have what is called a wet wheel. Underneath the blue cover in the middle is a large size spinning cutting disc. Inside the container itself is water. The cutting disc spins through the water to keep the disc cool while the top half of it actually cuts the tile. This tool is best used when you need to do irregular shaped cuts that are not just a straight line, even though on this demonstration it is just a straight line cut. The reason for this is the quality of the cuts is normally quite low with the wet cutter. It's never a perfect, neat looking edge, sometimes a little bit ragged and the chips missing, etc. So these cut edges need to be cleverly hidden as a part of the installation. You will see shortly another clip showing the 2 different cut edges from the 2 different tile cutters, so you can see what I'm talking about. This second cutter is a dry cutter. It works by scoring the top of the tile in a perfect straight line and then snapping the tile along that score. This type of cutter is certainly best used when it is just a perfect straight line cut. It is faster and gives a nicer looking edge to the tile that mostly doesn't need to be hidden. So these are the 2 different tile cuts next to each other. The one on the left is from the dry cutter and the one on the right from the wet cutter. You can clearly see the quality of the cuts is different between the 2. The next stage that we haven't taken a video of is David laying out the tiles on the floor without any adhesive. This really is just planning to get the positions correct and work out which patterns look best, where to start from, etc. You will see pencil marks on the uncoupling membrane that David has already done, so he knows exactly where to tile from. We would also do all the cuts at the planning stage, so when it comes to the video you're watching now, he's just laying tiles already fully planned out and already cut. You might not notice, but David is putting the cut edge of the first tiles underneath the threshold bar, separating with the wooden flooring in the next room. This is to hide the cut edge and keep the manufactured edges as visible edges on the kitchen side. He uses the rubber hammer to push down the tiles and level them up. You can see David is also using tile spacers. These are small cross-shaped pieces of plastic that you would put in the gap between the tiles just to get a totally consistent size of gap across the full floor. This really improves the final look and finish of the tiles once grouted. You can see David really is taking his time to get these first 2 tiles exactly perfect. This is because every other tile in the room will be laid according to the position of these first tiles, so the final finish really is dependent on getting the first tiles starting in exactly the right spot. You'll see David has already put pencil marks onto the tiles themselves as well at exactly the halfway point, so he knows exactly where to position the tiles. For this particular floor we are going for Bricket Effect tile pattern, however we can do all types of tile patterns if you have something different in mind. So, after at least a couple of hours for the tile adhesive to dry enough for the tiles to be walked on carefully, we are ready for grouting. The first step for grouting is always to clean the tiles and remove any excess tile adhesive and dust, etc. that might get into the grout during the process. Now that David is happy with how clean it is, he will get on with the grouting itself. You will notice he spreads the grout across the full floor rather than trying to finger the grout between the gaps. This method is just a lot quicker to do and gets a nice consistent finish across all the grout lines. Please be aware, however, this method is not suitable for all tile and grout types. I would certainly recommend, if you're not sure, to do a test on just one loose tile and see how it goes first. This method works best on tiles that come fully waterproof without the need for extra sealants and that have a reasonably smooth surface. The next stage again is cleaning the residue of remaining grout from the tiles. The cleanup itself should not be done straight away, however. The grout should be left to dry for at least a little while first, otherwise during the cleaning process you'll end up removing the grout from between the tiles. This would result in an inconsistent depth of grout, reducing the quality of the overall finish. So this is the final finished cleaned up floor with the dishwasher and fridge freezer back in position. David, as ever, has done a great job. This is a kitchen floor that looks perfect with no visible cuts. It has perfect size and depth grout lines, plus David worked out the tile positions on the floor perfectly. Add to this the time and effort put into priming properly and the decoupling membrane. This gives us a tile floor that not only looks great but will last a long time. Thanks for watching, and I hope this video was useful to you. If it was, then please like and subscribe. If you would like to find out more about Handy's property services, your go-to South London property refurbishment experts, you can see our details in the comments below. Finally, a big thank you to David, the star of the show, for allowing us to video his expert tiling today.